get started. It is impossible to run anything like this without funding. And our funding comes from people who are as passionate about this program as I am. So I'd like to present Marilyn Hayner of Ponte Vedra Public Education Foundation.
It's a mouthful, but that is what the name of our organization is, and we've been in existence since 1983. So we've been bringing programs to our public schools, and we do it mainly for enrichment and emphasis on the arts. The CAAP program has been created by the foundation for you, and so we pay for the reproductions that you take into the class. We also do artworks at the end of the year. So that's an art program that we have at the Marriott, open to the public, kindergarten through seniors in high school. We give awards, and it's really emphasis to bring attention to our natural artists in the elementary grades, but also with the art teachers that we've had that have channeled our kids through to being professional by the time they get to high school. We get most of our funding from the PGA Tour, so just for you to know about it and just be kind of looking for it. Thank you.
If you don't know what you're here for, our mission is very, very simple. It's the Children's Access to Art program. Our entire goal is to show art to kids. We're all surrounded by art all the time. I mean, there's not a single person in this room who isn't covered head to toe in art. Your shirt, shoes, jewelry, makeup, everything designed by an artist. The chair you are sitting in started out as art. The car you drove, the coffee cup, all of it is art. The arts economy puts over $730 billion a year into the GDP, which is a larger share than agriculture, than transportation, than tourism. Yet our society tends to treat the arts as something very frivolous. It's something that we can cut the budget out of because we need the money for more important things. And I think that's a mistake. So what makes the art important? Studies have shown they increase problem solving, creative thinking, focus, language skills. It's incredible. Our students have less absentee rates, fewer disciplinary actions, higher graduation rates. They're more likely to volunteer. How about 100 extra points on the SAT? And it doesn't stop with graduation. If you are a scientist looking through a microscope, it's kind of important that you are able to communicate exactly what you see and not what you think is there. Art teaches you the difference. Say your child wants to code. You need to show your team what they're going for, and the only way to do that is to draw a picture. You want to see teamwork? You watch a chorus or a marching band. They create a cohesive unit like you cannot believe. Entrepreneurialism? You need out-of-the-box thinking. And that is what art does better than anybody. They teach you that there may not be a right answer, or several right answers, or there might be a right answer that nobody who put the test together could have thought of. Who would think that using fruit to make a portrait is a good idea? This is the kind of out-of-the-box thinking that builds great companies. And this is where it starts. Sure, art's for beauty, and art is for making a statement. It's also science, culture, math, history. So that's supposed to be Ponce de Leon. But those are Plains Indians, not Timucuans. So now we have critical thinking, storytelling, history. All of these things become part of our art. All of these things are important for our children to learn. So while it seems simple, this is the first step in showing our children that art isn't some nebulous thing that only a snobby elite get to participate in. It's not museums or weird sculptures or that public access channel that nobody watches. Art is something that surrounds us every day, all the time. It's part of what makes us human. So, now you know what's important. We're not solving world hunger. We're not going to Mars, we're showing art to kids, which is the first step in solving world hunger and going to Mars. So how do you do this? This is the CAAP collection. There's over 200 pieces, all of them in order by artist. Some of them are well loved, you'll have to forgive us. The first thing you're going to need to do is figure out what you want, which is over here in these books. There's a picture record where you can go through and just flip through and find things that you like. There's also an inventory list by artist, by title, and then in the back there are a few collections like pieces you can find at the Cummer, or pieces that are abstract. Perhaps you want a cityscape. There is, even in the very back, a list that my daughter put together for us of all of the pieces that we have in the art collection that she could remember from her AP Euro History class. One of the reasons she was able to pass her test was because she was able to identify a piece of art that they had on the test and could tell where it came from. It got her the extra 10 points that pushed her over the edge. Art is important. Once you find your piece, which you will be able to do because of this code, they're alphabetical by artist with a code for the particular artist piece on the back. This is in the inventory list. We'll find a checkout card, just like the old-fashioned library checkout cards. You're as old as I am. Fill it out with your name, your phone number, your school, and the date. You will take that checkout card and bring it to the checkout box and file it by artist, please, so that the rest of us can find you even if we don't know what your last name is. You will then make use of our high-tech transportation devices, which we use to keep the loving to a minimum. When you bring them back, you will return them in their high-tech transportation devices, which you will also return. There's generally a pile of them here. Grab the card, stick it back in the poster, and then you'll return it to the appropriate bin face down with the code out where you can see it. So that's how you get them in and out. What do you do with them while you have them? It's up to you. We just want kids to see art. You can spend as much or as little time in a classroom as you'd like. You'll get together with your teachers. You'll pick out a schedule that works for everybody. Find out how much time that classroom is willing to give you. And it could be anything from 10 minutes twice a month to an hour every week. It's completely up to you. I had one teacher who gave me exactly 18 minutes every 4 months. She was a bit of a stickler. And let me caution you that the piece must be something you like. You're bringing this in front of children. If you bring a Pollock and have never understood Pollock and think it's the stupidest thing you've ever seen, don't bring it, because all of the kids will go, oh. If, however, you think Pollock is amazing and you're willing to get down and dirty with those kids and do action drawings of their own, go for it. It's fantastic. Some classes will have more than one volunteer, in which case please get together amongst yourselves and decide on schedule and how you're going to do that so that the teacher we're not adding more work onto their day. If you get to a class and they say, we did that last year, which will happen. The response is fantastic. You can help the rest of the class. Or let's see how much deeper we can go, because every grade level is different. The kindergartners and the second graders see very different things in each piece of art. Now, if you don't happen to have an art history degree, I have provided one for you. You'll notice that the back of every poster has this giant envelope with your best friend in it. This little sheet of paper is all you need to pretend that you know what you're talking about. This tells you who the artist was, when it happened, details about the picture itself, and perhaps even the museum it's kept in. The most important thing, of course, are these suggested questions. If you know nothing about art, you do now. I had a basic art education when I started this about 10 years ago. I know a little more now. For this one, I love this piece. With a kindergartner, perhaps you want to start with, what do you see? What on earth is this? And sometimes it takes them a while to see a face. Sometimes it takes them a while to see vegetables. Sometimes they notice that there's writing first off. It's really quite amazing what they can pull out of a piece like this. So how many different things can you find in here? And why would you do that? Perhaps the older grades, you want to get into something like, what's an optical illusion? Does it matter how close or how far away you are from this piece? Does that change anything? Some of you will find yourself obsessed, and I'm sorry. There are worse things to be obsessed about. Working with two different pictures. You could start with, who are these ladies? Who do you think they are? Are they inside or are they outside? Are they old-fashioned or are they modern? How do you know? How do you think they feel? Do you think they know each other? Do you think they would like each other? This one has a book. What do you think that means? Why do you think the artist put a book in with her? You can talk about how different portraits relate. Were these two kids drawn at the same time? What's different about them? Are they rich or poor? Do you think they might have known each other? If they had known each other, do you think they would have been friends? And then you're getting into what is most wonderful about an art education. There aren't any right answers. There aren't any wrong answers. You can't test this. This is what makes you think creatively. There are some fantastic stories. What's going on in here? What do you think just happened? Why are they running? How do you know they're running? What happened next? When I first started this, I really didn't have much of an understanding of abstract art, and now it just tickles me funny. This piece, if you brought this piece into a first grade classroom, and you say, tell me what this sounds like, you got a party. Art, drawings, paintings aren't just about a two-dimensional anything. What would life be like if you were inside this room? In fact, what does this one sound like? What do you smell? For the Moreau, I like to bring in a few pieces of music. There's the rodeo piece from Copeland, or Ride of the Valkyries. Oh my gosh. If you play Ride of the Valkyries and ask the kids to draw a picture, just listen to the music and draw a picture, you get Star Wars, and you get Indiana Jones, and you get lots of big heroes. I had no idea Wagner sounded so much like Hans Zimmer. If you want to go more into detail, you can start doing projects. This is obviously where I start to get a little obsessive. It can be something as simple as draw a picture like the one you see. For the Archimboldo, I like bringing lots of sheets of vegetables or flowers, throwing them on desks, and saying, cut them out and make me a picture. It could be a face, it could be a scene, it could be a house, it could be a dog. Just make me a picture with flowers and vegetables. This was one of my favorite pieces to bring into a second grade classroom. The name of the piece is Midday. If you think about being in the middle of a busy intersection, you kind of squint your eyes so that all you can see are the colors. This is midday. What I did in this classroom was, after we talked about the painting, we all sat down with a piece of paper in front of us, and we all thought about a particular time of day that we liked. What's your favorite time of day? Now, what are the colors that you see? Are they soft? Are they bright? Are the lines harsh, or are they blended? Is it more of a marker kind of feeling or a crayon kind of feeling? And you would not believe the things that came out of this classroom of second graders. I walked down the aisles and could say, you like sleepy time. There was one girl who liked to have parties in the dark with laser lights. And you could see it. It was the most incredible thing. Does anybody have any idea what this might be? And now can you see it? The name of this painting is Nude Descending Staircase. I usually don't call it a nude. I just say it's a woman descending a staircase. They don't have to know she's naked. Cool project for this one. Kids are pretty familiar with flip books. You can make a flip book all on one page. All of the movements of a ball bouncing, but keep it all on one page. These types of things tend to reinforce what they're seeing. We like to talk about color and sound and line. The important stories. The really strange Z's that are all over this picture. Z's. There's Z's everywhere. You can make a whole picture of Z's. This is actually more than one piece of art. This is a poem. Among the rain and lights, I saw the figure 5 in gold on a red fire truck moving, tense, unheeded, to gong clang, siren howls, and wheels rumbling through the dark city. What's happening here? Which 5 is closest to you? Why? How do you know that 5 is closer? Which 5 is in the back? Can you find anything hidden? Can you find a name hidden in this painting? Tell me what you saw in the painting. What colors did you see? Are you sure? These have new tie-back envelopes, and there's little pieces of Velcro holding them together. So if nothing is coming out, then that's why. Did I miss anything? Yeah.
So I signed up, like you said, not knowing what CAAP is about.
It was the only line left, wasn't it?
And sitting here, it looks like there's emphasis on European art. Do you
Please bring in other influences.
We only have like 2.
We do have some pieces that are not European, but it is mostly. You're right. And part of that is because we're biased. And as a culture, we're biased. The history, the stories are all emphasizing European history. So that's what we're going to be most familiar with. If there are suggestions, I would love to hear them.
So the way I grew up in India, a lot of us just do art, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so it's more accessible to kids. So that is what I thought I was signing up for, just taking projects to the kids. Do they have to be from the prints here, or can I pull things on the internet and do art education hands-on?
You can absolutely pull other things.
Okay.
The whole goal is exactly what you just said. making art accessible to children. It's not some elite people who are snobby and have lots of time on their hands can go to museums. And art is everywhere, and it's important. And that's what we're trying to do in these classrooms. We're trying to show children, yes, they can be artists. If you do art, by definition, you are an artist.
Does every project have to be on paper or on
Nope.
canvas?
Nope.
Can it be something
There's
abstract?
a couple of Greek vases. There's one of a Greek vase, and I had one volunteer that brought in styrofoam cups. And everybody decorated their own Greek vase. We've had workings with wire, doing the sculptures, color mobiles. I would make color wheels. There's a couple of very interesting paintings in here where the colors are all messed up, because color doesn't have to be predictable. So we would do a project where everybody got a color wheel and they would draw a scene. Anything they wanted, you can write anything you want. Now, what color is everything supposed to be? Grass is supposed to be green. Skies are supposed to be blue. Take your color wheel, find the color it's supposed to be, and go to the other side. Make the grass red. Make the sky orange. See what happens. We would talk about the Sistine Chapel and the different pieces and the Sibyl and what she was and the story behind that. And then, this is the most fabulous kindergartner project. Everybody would finish talking, go back to their desks, pull their chairs out, crawl under their desks, and find that I had taped paper to the bottom of their desk, and they would all have to draw like this. I'm told that kids went home and taped paper to the bottom of their desks. It's getting kids interested in art. That's it. That's all we're doing. Any way you want to do that, I am good with.
Do we have to focus more on like the creative and the feeling and stuff like that?
There's no have to.
Or no have to, or like history?
There's no have
Is that
to.
boring for kids?
There's no have to. First of all, you're going to be surprised at what the kids find interesting. Some of the stories themselves are fascinating. The feelings are fascinating. Things like Van Gogh loved the color yellow. So anything that's yellow in his paintings, you knew he either really, really liked or was having a really good day. So let's explore how colors can work as messengers.
My question is about art that they attend in art class. Is there overlap between what we're doing and what art?
Sometimes.
Okay. Is there any benefit to trying to coordinate that, or are we sort of?
If you want to get in touch with the art teachers, then you're welcome to.
Okay.
There might be something that they're interested in emphasizing. Mostly this is just its own thing.
Okay.
So it doesn't have to go with anything. It can, it absolutely can, but it doesn't have to.
I picked one that they had covered in art, and it was actually fun because the kids had more to say. They were very involved. And it just happened back here.
Where do the supplies come from? Do we?
The supplies, basic supplies the teacher has. Obviously you want to talk to them before any projects. Anything else, any extra stuff, you'll need to bring on your own. They are not set up to do an art class in their rooms. So we try to keep projects on the simpler side. I have, for this I would bring in all of the paper, and then the paper that they glued everything onto, the glue sticks and the scissors, they would have in the classroom. My Escher projects, Escher's one of my favorite artists because it's like magic tricks. You have this double-sided horse and rider, which if you take it and move it just so, fits together exactly. And guess what? You're doing math. Teachers love that. So I will bring in cards to do tessellations with. I'll teach them how to create a tessellation, like the reptiles here, which, if you can see the reptile in the picture, this will cut out to form that reptile. He was an amazing mathematician. He just wasn't very good with numbers. And when I do that, I will bring in sheets with things already printed on them. For O'Keeffe's, one of the projects I like to do for O'Keeffe's is extreme close-ups. So I'll bring in a little index card with a square cutout. You find a picture, say this one, and you put the square over part of the picture. Could be a book that they have lying on their desk. It could be a magazine. It could be their lunchbox. And then I want you to take what's in that picture and draw it the full size of the paper, whole paper, no white anywhere in that paper. I want everything that's in that square to cover the whole paper. Sometimes it works. So things like that you would bring on your own. They don't have lots of paints. They don't have giant drop cloths. Just discuss it with the teacher beforehand and see what is available. And most of them love this program and are happy to work with her.
And as a reminder, the art projects are totally optional. Most of us enjoy that part, but is not a requirement. We will never know what you do or do not do in your classrooms. There's no accountability or follow-up. This is your thing. And so you do with it what you're comfortable with and what you're excited to do and what you have time for and energy. So that's one of the best things about this volunteer opportunity is the flexibility.
We just want kids to see art. That's it. If you can make it fun because you enjoy that, fantastic. If you can make it a nice discussion because that's what you enjoy, fantastic. If you want to take the Monk Scream, go in 2 weeks beforehand, take pictures of all of the kids in the hallway going like this, take them home, blow them up, print them out on your printer, cut them out, bring them to school with 8.5 by 11 inch sheets of paper, and have everybody draw the background and then glue their own picture on top of them. Mrs. Mills in particular really loves that. Stacks are open if the school is open.
Okay, wonderful.
You just, if there's the books fair in here again this year, it gets a little tight.
Traditionally, in the past, we have taken a couple of pictures to the school so that you at least have a few options there. But we are not actually very big fans of that because then we're choosing the art for you. And like you keep hearing Diana say, you have to love the piece you choose and you have to feel passionate and excited about it. So we really think the best method is driving up to PVPV and checking the art out here. However, we're in a very modern age now and there are other options besides just coming and getting the actual print. And I haven't really done this yet, but Pam's done it a lot, so I'll let her kind of.
I have used the posters a ton and I love them. I've been teaching CAAP from when my son was in 1st grade and now he's in 5th grade. And just to give you an example, we're doing Matter. And I don't know why, but it just came to me from getting the emails from the teacher that I wanted to do Dale Chihuly with his glass blowing. And it worked out great because of that. Obviously, we don't own Dale Chihuly glass, and there isn't a poster on his chandeliers and his sculptures. So I went online and I sent her just some images. I sent her like a 2-minute glass blowing video I thought looked cool. For the activity, it was a really short one. We just took plastic cups and decorated the insides with markers, and then I melted them, and it kind of had like a glass-looking feel, and the kids really seemed to like it.
I just have to laugh. This is a really simple project for her. Like, I've never done anything that extensive.
Oh, I'm supposed to be a teacher, guys, and you don't have to do all of this. But all I'm saying is, I send the teacher images, short YouTube videos. She'll put them up on her big TV, and we can discuss it that way too. Because I'll ask her, you know, what are you working on? I'll try to tie it just in. To give you an idea, because I've been doing it so long. I have my art bag. This is my handy dandy art bag that I always, like when I get ideas or whatever, I just grab it. And I have a notebook. I call it my cheat sheet notebook, and I just kind of write down whenever I do a CAAP the name of the artist. I love like Googling interesting facts about the artist, the art, whatever. Write it in here. A little bit about the activity that I was thinking of doing, so that if I ever did want to do it again or reference it, when it's in your handwriting, you just are like, oh yeah, I remember all that.
If you have questions, you're not bothering us.
No.
If you don't understand something, we're happy to explain it. We don't expect you to bring your art history degree to this. As long as you know 10 minutes more than they do, you'll do great. Thank you all for coming.